Bing bong. Keep talking.
A B C D E F.
Okay, cool. I can hear you. All right. Hello. I was going to say fellow listeners. That doesn't make sense. Hello, everyone. This is the Beyond Deconstruction podcast, episode 3. I'm going to say because I'll just post it straight away. So this is episode 3, and I'm here with my friend Dia, and we did a podcast for her channel the other day, and apparently I was quite evasive, so we thought we'd do a follow-up podcast and answer all the questions that apparently I didn't answer. So, welcome, dear. I'm glad to have you on the podcast.
I don't know yet if you can hear me, but
We
if you
can
can,
hear you
I'm
fine.
glad to be on the show.
No, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear, apparently.
Okay,
So,
great. Well, thank you
why
for
don't
having
you
me.
tell the?
Thank you for the
That's
invite.
okay. No worries. Do you want
Mm.
to just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do online and where we can find you, and so we can carry on this conversation?
Yeah, I've been like online. I've had an
Oh
online
my gosh, are you
presence.
kidding me? It's just sorry, you just roboted out again.
I can't keep doing this, bro. I don't know what's happening, but
No,
the
I
edges are
know
very
I can't keep doing it either.
how annoying.
It seems fine now.
I don't know why. Okay. But it's going to
It
keep
seems
happening.
fine. Just
There's
keep
going to
going.
be, I'm going to start talking and then you're always going to be like, oh my God, because it's
No,
not
no, no,
connected
no. It's
to something.
totally fine. It's consistent. It's consistent right now.
Okay, okay.
Just
Um,
answer. Just start from my question, and I'll just edit it.
okay, so I have had an online presence now for about 4-ish years. I started my channel comedically, thinking I was funny, but women aren't really that funny. And then I progressed into like commentary of culture, social issues, and politics. And that's sort of where I landed and where my channel sort of has stayed. And I interview people every Wednesday, and you quite generously gave me your time. And we had a very interesting interview as well. And so that's sort of where I am now. I interview people.
Yeah. So what kind of people do you like to talk to other than myself?
Lots of different types. I've had a doctor from the World Health Organization on my channel talk about why we should be vaccinated. I've had um, the opposite. I've had people who are completely stand against the World Health Organization and vaccinations and masks. I've had leftists, artists on my channel. I've had conservative artists on my channel. I've had abortion survivors on my channel. I've had women who were
Whoa,
raped. Yeah, I really do have a broad spectrum. I have
you
had,
covering the gambit.
yeah, there's really not one topic I don't talk about. Um,
So
yeah,
would
so
would it
that's
be
sort of
fair
what I
to
do.
say you're a reasonably curious individual?
Yeah, I think so. I like talking to people. I like getting to know different people. It's not about getting the big names. It's about getting the interesting people with interesting stories. I love that.
Hmm. Wow. So why did you want me on your podcast? There's a good question.
Ah, well, because if Bering, who is a mutual friend of ours, finds you as interesting as he does, and he is someone who is interesting himself, you must have something interesting to say. You must have an interesting take on the topics that I believe in. And so why not have
Mm,
someone on it who can challenge me, which you did,
yeah,
and I can challenge you back, even though you don't respond.
absolutely. Well, that's why we're doing the second
I'm only
conversation,
joking.
right?
And well, yes, your
No, no,
introduction
no, no, no,
was
no. I'm
wrong.
up for it. I want to.
No,
I'm
I know
genuine.
you are.
I'm serious. I want to fill in the gaps so that people,
Well, it was only
because we can
one
put a
question.
link to our first conversation.
Yes, we will.
You
But it
know,
was only one question.
I
You
could
sort
even
of,
combine our two conversations into one giant podcast. You know,
you probably could. That'd be
we
awesome. But
could do that.
you could do that. Yeah. It's just that your introduction, however, was a little. misleading. I think it was only one question that I didn't find you answered, because everything else I felt like
Oh, we'll
was
get
fine.
to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Sure,
We're
but it
taking
was
our
only
time. We'll
one
just
question. It
eat
wasn't it
into it.
wasn't a serious question.
Okay. So you define yourself as a Christian, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. That word can mean so many different things to so many different
Sadly,
people.
that's true.
For the sake of the listeners, I know it's a super dumb question to ask, but what do you define as a Christian?
Someone who has accepted the sacrifice and atonement that Jesus Christ made for their sins to be saved, and who has repented of their
Interesting.
sins. That's a Christian.
Do you know the term? Have you heard the term? No, I'm going to be careful how I say this because it sounds like a different word, but the term penal substitutionary atonement,
Penal? No, I haven't.
as in penalty. Have you heard that term before?
Penal substitution. What? What was the last bit?
It's called penal substitutionary atonement.
I don't think
Are
I
you
have heard that
familiar?
term, but it sounds
Okay.
like it
It's
just means.
basically
Oh,
it's basically what you just described.
okay, cool.
So it's the idea that to really sort of dumb it down, I suppose, we broke the law of God, the law, I
Hmm.
know I put an R in that, the law of God, and Jesus paid the fine. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's completely, absolutely accurate.
Yeah. So that's that. I don't. I
That's my
just.
definition.
I'm asking super dumb questions. I just don't want to misrepresent you. That's all.
No, I see what you're doing. No, that's
Okay.
completely accurate to my understanding of what the
Okay.
definition of Christianity is. Yes.
Now I'm going to ask you an interesting question because those were boring questions. Do you know that that view of the cross, that understanding of Jesus' death and resurrection, is only one of about 6 different views of what happened on the cross? Did
Meaning
you know
that
that?
there are other books that were written that are not in the Bible?
No,
Is
no,
that what
no,
you're sort of?
no, no,
Oh,
no, 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 no. There's about 6 different. What's the word? There's about 6 different interpretations, I guess you could say, of what happened on the cross, and that's
um,
just one of.
okay. So I did not know that, but if you're referring, which you said you're not, to other extra biblical texts of that same account,
No,
that
I'm not at all.
I would be
I'm
able to
not at
easily
all
say
referring
then
to other
yes.
books.
Okay.
No, no, no. I'm not at all referring to other books.
Then no, I didn't know that. Then no, I didn't know that.
Okay. There's a book by a guy named Tony Jones called Did God Kill Jesus, which is worth reading. And it
Okay.
basically goes through all 6 different interpretations in quite intricate detail. Yeah.
Okay.
So the penal substitutionary atonement theory, well, they call it a theory, just like evolution is a theory,
Mhm.
um, didn't wasn't sort of, I don't want to say this in a harsh way, but that way of understanding the cross wasn't um, common until I think, oh, I'm going to be wrong on the dates, but it's like 1300s or something. Like it's a basically that understanding of the cross didn't come about at the time of Jesus. Let's say it that way.
Okay. I
So the
understand what you're saying.
early Christians, yeah, so the early Christians didn't have that theology.
According to what you're saying. Okay, no worries. I haven't looked
Well, you
into that
can
yet,
do
so I can't
research
just
on it.
take.
I mean, you can
Yeah, no,
challenge me for
exactly.
sure.
You're telling me to research it. I know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm just
I'm
not
not
going to take
exactly
your word
100%
for it.
schooled with it
Yeah.
myself. There's multiple books written on the subject.
I'm sure. I'm not disputing that for sure. Okay.
Mm. No, no,
Okay.
no. It's just interesting because most Christians probably don't know that, I don't think.
Well, I didn't. So there you go. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm here to educate. No. Um, it's quite interesting because there's kind of a theory, I suppose you could call it, that every 500 years the church goes through a kind of a like a rummage sale, like like recalibrating what they believe and what they shouldn't believe and what they need to believe. And it's tied in with technology, funny enough. So, like, you've got, say, the easiest example is the Reformation with Martin Luther, right? So when
Mm.
he put the 95 Thesis on the door of the Catholic Church and revolted against, the Catholic beliefs, which I know you're absolutely against. Just for the record, Dia is against Catholicism. um, just disclaimer for those listening. You don't mind me saying that, right?
Of course not. I've made that so public so many
Okay,
times. Yeah.
okay, cool. Just want to be clear. Just want to be clear.
Yeah.
So when the Reformation happened, it was around the time of the printing press, right? So before the printing press, the idea of having an individual Bible was a foreign concept. So you had to read
Mm,
the Bible in community, you
I'm
know.
aware. Yeah.
So there's a great. I'm going to do lots of plugs for books because if someone's smarter than me, I'll just reference them and you can look them up. But
Okay.
there's a guy named Shane Hipps who wrote a book called Flickering Pixels. And the subtitle of the book is How Technology Shapes Your Faith. And he goes through a lot of the stuff about technology and faith, and it's really, really, really interesting. So we sort of take for granted the way we see things and don't often stop to consider how, history has changed our views and technology, and it's, you know, it's quite a lot to think about. So, yeah,
There's a lot there. Yeah.
there is,
I'm
there
not really
is.
sure what you want me to
So,
elaborate on, but yeah, for sure. Like
no, 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 sorry, say that again. You just cut out a little bit.
I said, I'm not really sure what I can say to elaborate on that, but I don't dispute that at all. But yeah, I'm not really sure what to say, how to respond to that.
No, that's okay. I wasn't expecting you to. I know that I'm throwing ideas out here that are probably quite new to you. That's
But
fine.
also, I
So
don't
I'm not
know half the
expecting.
people of the I don't know half the authors that you're stating either. You stating them doesn't mean
No, no, I know.
much to me because
I'm saying
they're not
these.
anything to me. It's like if you were using the
I
Bible
know.
as an
I
authority.
understand that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying it. I'm quoting the authors with the listeners in mind because they have Google.
Gotcha. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah. Um. So let's just dive straight into it. Or you said it was one specific
Just
question
one.
that you
Yeah.
felt that I kind of avoided. What was the question? Throw it at me again.
Oh, it was only that you posed a certain question at me in a relatively uh horseshoe manner. So
So for
like I
the
was kind of
listeners,
trapped.
you'll just
And
okay.
so
So for the listeners, repeat the question that I put to you.
the one you put to me was so you're saying, dear, that the Jewish people in the concentration camps, because they don't believe in Jesus, that they're all going to hell? And then my answer was, well, technically speaking, if you don't believe in the sacrifice Christ made for you, then yeah. And you use the worst example and you use the worst manner in which to I suppose do the gotcha that people do when in a public forum.
Well, it wasn't intended to. It wasn't
Oh, it
intended to be
was, but I
gotcha.
wasn't
Why
offended
was
by
it?
it.
No, no, no. It genuinely wasn't.
Okay, well, that's how it came off. And again, I wasn't annoyed by it. Like, I like you as a person, so it didn't actually bother me too much. So
Oh,
then I did the same
okay.
back, and then I said, well, then you're saying because I thought you had implied, even though you never stated outright, which is frustrating because I wanted an answer. I wanted direct answers from you and your thoughts, not implications and translations. So my question back to you was, well, then you're saying that if you don't believe in hell, which you never actually said, but you implied it, um, well, the question I threw at you was, so you're saying that if there is no hell, that people like Stalin and Lenin and Mao and Hitler, that there's no punishment for them. And then you
Mm.
never really actually responded until a moment ago when we were chatting on the phone.
Yeah, well, my response, and I'll just say it again for the record, was I don't know. I don't.
Yes, which is a great
But the
response.
question I
It's
think is
honest.
interesting. Yeah, I think the question's interesting because Hitler and Stalin and all those people that you mentioned always seem to come up in these conversations. My sort of question on that is why do you think that is? Why do you think we reference those people?
Because they're murderers. That's a really
Okay.
easy question to
So,
answer. They're murderers. They're bad people. Anyone would agree with that. They killed hordes and hordes and hordes
but
of people,
why
over
don't we use
150
a
million.
like a more trivial example of like a shoplifter or something like that?
Why don't we? Because a shoplifter is a shoplifter. All they've done is stolen a couple of little bits and bobs. So who gives a shit about that?
Oh,
But people's lives matter. Killers,
hold on, keep
killers stealing
talking,
people.
dear. We might have to edit here. You're just cutting out again.
Okay.
Oh, what's going on?
Can you hear me?
We might have to. Yeah, I can hear you now. You're good. You're back. So I was saying, why do we reference those people and not someone more trivial like a shoplifter or something like that?
Because a shoplifter is stealing an object. Who cares? People's lives matter. Over 150 million people dead, that matters. Those people are a better example of being hellbound than a shoplifter.
So your assumption seems to be that life has value.
It's a blatant statement. I'm outright saying that life has value. I'm pro-life. I don't even think babies in the womb should be murdered.
Okay, I'm not going to touch that one on this
No, that's fine.
conversation,
You
but
don't
that's
have
okay.
to. But
No, no, no. For the record, I pretty much agree with you on that one, to be honest. Or not pretty much. I do agree with you on that.
yet,
Um,
yet you're asking me and querying about why not a shoplifter over three or four dictators who have murdered over 150 million people. That's unusual.
what's unusual? Sorry.
You've asked me about a shoplifter. I've saying why not the shoplifter? I've over the dictators, yet you're pro-life. That's unusual.
Let's talk about that. Why is that unusual?
Because you're asking me why don't we use the shoplifter, a trivial example, as a hellbound example over dictators who have murdered over 150 million collectively. I think I've even got that number wrong. Yet you're pro-life. So you see value in life, but you're wanting to know
Yeah,
why. Okay, do you not see the parallel
but
there?
yeah,
Or do you,
I'm not asking you the question because I disagree with you. I'm asking the question just to find out what your values are.
no, no, I know, but you're saying that you are pro-life like I am, right?
Well, I'm pro-choice, really. I just think people should make the right choice and not murder
Okay, but now
babies.
you the right choice is to keep the babies.
Yes.
Yeah, that's that's an interesting way to put it. But yeah, no, my only point
Yeah.
is that you're positing a question to me saying why don't we why isn't the petty thief going to hell? Because he has I
Okay,
mean,
let's
okay, go.
try and let's spice this up a little bit because I feel like this is getting a little boring for the listeners. So
Okay.
let's just dive straight into the hell thing because I think that hell was the biggest subject that we probably had some disagreement on. So does God have to send people to hell or does he choose to?
He has the humanity has
He,
implemented a system. And so
he has to.
I believe so because a just judge will punish, will discipline where required. If I if I went out of my way and molested children and also killed a bunch of them, but then I said to the judge, but I didn't mean to do it, and he goes, all right, no worries, and he let me off, that is not a just judge. But if I am put in prison, that is
Can
a
you just
just
repeat the
judge.
last, sorry, you just cut out. Can you just repeat the last 30 seconds?
Oh, how are we gonna do this the whole interview? Okay.
It's
Um,
it's no, no, it's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. Just repeat the last like 30 seconds.
I don't even remember what I said. Okay. If a just judge just let me off, and I said to the judge, I might have molested a couple of kids and murdered a few, but I didn't mean it, and then he let me free, that would be a bad judge. So doesn't, God is a just judge. So we are going to be punished for our sins. So we are all hellbound unless we take the gift.
So is God, let me ask you a silly question. Is God just a just judge, or is he other things as well?
He is other things as well. However, when where
What about a
our
loving father?
yes, he is that. But if you don't take the gift,
Okay.
then he has to judge. If you don't take the gift of
So
eternal
what?
salvation, he has to judge.
So could you give me? Okay, let's put God aside for a second,
Okay.
which is weird, I know, because he's everywhere. But can you think of an example of an earthly father who would put their children in a situation where there's no hope?
What do you mean? Like when a father sells his daughter to be sold into sex slavery or something? What do you mean?
Well, no, that's not quite an example. No, I'm saying, can you think? Well, I guess it's kind of an example, I guess, but no. Okay, let me be very specific with the question.
Yeah, I don't
Would
follow.
a
Go.
would an earthly father, no, hang on, would a loving earthly father put their children in a situation where there was no hope?
Not intentionally, probably.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's the right answer.
Okay.
Isn't there a verse in the Bible that says, hold on, isn't there a verse in the Bible that says, even earthly fathers know how to give good gifts to their children, how much more your heavenly Father?
Probably. I don't know every Bible verse. That's probably in there, but I'm not
Yeah.
disputing that he isn't a loving father. But what I am stating outright is that,
Do you know the story of the prodigal son?
yeah, okay, I guess I'm not finishing that
Do you
sentence.
know in the Hebrew
Yes.
tradition it's referred to? Do you know that in the Hebrew tradition, the story of the prodigal son is referred to as the story of the loving father? That's
Okay.
what they call it. The
Okay,
whole
that's great.
point
That's
of that
great.
story is about two. Sorry?
That's great. That's good. I like that.
Yeah,
I see
well,
that.
it
I see
kind of
that angle.
shifts. Yeah, it kind of shifts the narrative a little bit, right? So that story is about a loving father who had two sons, one who went out into the world and did a whole bunch of shit,
Mm,
and one who stayed at home and basically did nothing. And the
yeah.
father loved them both. And the end of that story, it says the end of the story, right? The son comes home
Comes home
and
and
the
he's
father
embraced.
puts a ring on his finger, a robe on his back, and throws a party, right? What
Yeah.
does the other brother do, right? He goes
He
out
gets
and
jealous.
sulks. He goes, "You
Yeah.
didn't give me a goat to celebrate with my friends." Like, he had a scarcity mentality of the father's love. That story is about the love of God as a loving father, not we focus on the son because we're the prodigal son, like we come home, like we focus on us. It's almost we have like a narcissistic interpretation of it.
Mm. I mean,
You
I
know,
think I know what you're saying, but like I don't think there's anything wrong with the narrative being about the loving father because you could have the story of Cinderella and then see it from the stepsister's perspective. Like I don't think that changes
mm,
too much.
oh, exactly. I agree with you. I completely agree.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. So, I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts or questions? Because I'm kind of running out.
Oh, no, I'm okay. I can't think of anything right now, but I just wanted the reason we did this live was to sort of do it as a brief amendment to the previous because you were saying that you actually don't have an issue with questions being posed at you and you're comfortable answering and that day I felt like I gave you ample opportunities to respond, and I never just got the response. And now you've said, "Oh, I don't know," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." And that's pretty much all I
Yeah,
wanted.
no,
Like,
fair enough. I think
yeah, and you've answered
part
now,
of
and
it,
that's okay. You don't
I
know.
was a
That's a
little
respectful
self-conscious,
answer.
to be honest, because no, that's fine. I think, to be honest with you, part of it was that I was a little self-conscious. Like, I prefer doing audio only for recording. Like, I'm a little camera shy, to be honest.
Oh, well,
Um,
you did well.
so I think, yeah, no.
I,
So I think, I mean, somebody called me a potato with a face or something. I don't know what it was, but
oh, those
um,
are just dickheads in the audience. People say
no,
mean things to
no.
me. They
I
always
mean,
say
I am
deport
a big
dia.
person. I am currently trying to lose some weight at the moment, but that's all
Keep
right.
going. I'm sure you're
Um,
doing great.
well, I will, I will. Well, thanks,
Yeah.
thanks, Steve, for this conversation. I think it's been very interesting, and I appreciate your perspective.
Well, I hope my audio is okay.
I can just click stop recording.